Do you know what the worst part about the Netflix Iron Fist series was? Well, besides the bad fight scenes and the uncharismatic lead and the endless amount of boring business room meetings and the fact that there's no one-on-one fist fight with a dragon. To me, the worst part about Iron Fist the show was that it made the general public think of Iron Fist the comic in a negative light. Which is a real shame because Iron Fist has a long history of great stories from a plethora of talented writers and artists. Stories that show a very different side of the Marvel Universe. Stories about kung fu, ancient mysticism, real street-level crime, things you would often see in old-school grindhouse films. Now, you may find Iron Fist as a character to be a little bit problematic, and to be fair, he kind of is, but you can't deny that the reason he's stuck around for this long is just due to some good stories being told with him. And it's one of those stories I want to talk about today. It's the 2006 series, The Immortal Iron Fist by Ed Brubaker, Matt Fraction, and David Aja. If any of those names sound remotely familiar to you, that's because they should. Ed Brubaker is one of the best writers in all of comics. I rave about him all the time. He's got classic runs on Batman and Captain America, great independent work like Kill or Be Killed, Fatal, Velvet, and Matt Fraction and David Aja are the two guys who made Hawkeye worth talking about. And for 16 issues, this dream team, along with a host of other artists, helped turn Iron Fist from a C-level character into the premier Marvel comic. The first story arc, which is ironically titled The Last Iron Fist Story, introduces us to Orson Randall, the Iron Fist from before Danny Rand took over. He's still alive despite the fact he hadn't been seen since World War I and is looking for Danny to give him the Book of the Iron Fists, a big tome containing all of the secrets of the Protectors of Kunlun. The second story arc, The Seven Capital Cities of Heaven, sees Danny enter in the Tournament of the Heavenly Cities, a grand competition to see which of the titular cities gets to become the Heart of Heaven. And while all this is going on, Danny uncovers a conspiracy to destroy Kunlun and must figure out a way to stop his enemies without alerting suspicion from pretty much anyone. The 13 issues that make up these two story arcs are everything the Netflix series should have been. It's dark and gritty, but lively and exciting, filled with great action sequences that scream Iron Fist. David Aja and colorist Matt Hollingsworth really shine here. Whereas their work on Hawkeye was pretty colorful with bold, flat colors, this series, Iron Fist, is literally dark and gritty. Everything sort of has this dirty look to it, but it fits perfectly with the grimmer, more mature story they're trying to tell. Brubaker and Fraction present us with a Danny Rand that you wish Finn Jones was portraying on the show. Confident in his abilities as the living weapon, but with this zen-like calmness to him that makes him seem laid back, but hyper-aware of what's going on around him at the same time. And this run is actually a great combination of both writers' strong suits, the noir sensibilities of Brubaker mixed with the offbeat wittiness of Fraction. Now, the idea of there being two Iron Fists at the same time is pretty interesting in its own right, but the team takes this one step further and shows us the entire history of the Iron Fists throughout time. It shows us various different Iron Fists throughout different eras in history. In addition to flashes of history throughout the main stories, Issue 7 is all about Wow Ao Shi, the first female Iron Fist. Issue 15 is all about Bi Bang Wen, the Iron Fist of the 1800s. Both of these one-off stories are very interesting and provide a real sense of backstory that actually seems like it adds something to the mythos. In addition to the main 16-issue series, there are also various spin-offs and an annual that go more into the history of Orson Randall, the previous Iron Fist, and specifically his relationship to Danny's father, Wendell Rand. And the history of Wendell Rand and his time in Kunlun is very important to the second story arc. It actually gives Danny a deeper connection to the city and its culture, and does a lot to dispel the old stereotype of Iron Fist just being a white guy who's better than the natives trope that he's so often accused of perpetuating. I mean, it's still there, but it's not as bad as it is in the show. And what really sells the flashbacks is that they're all illustrated by artists other than David Aja, giving each era its own unique look and feel. Artists like Travel Foreman, Russ Heath, Kari Evans, Kano, Mike Allred, Daniel Brenton, Howard Chaykin, Javier Pulido, Nick Dragotta, Louis LaRosa, Mitch Britweister, and more. Do you really think I could memorize all those artists? I can barely memorize the scripts for this episode. This particular run ends at issue 16 with a story called Happy Birthday, Danny. It's all about Danny Rand using his wealth and influence rather than his powers to help people. It's a nice, smaller story that, in addition to being a good, quiet capper to the series, it presents us with a Danny Rand that, beneath all the mysticism and kung fu, is just a straight-up good guy New Yorker who's trying to do the right thing however he can. It's rare that you get a series that's not only great on its own, but serves as the perfect primer to a character you may not know a lot about. But for 16 plus issues, the team of Brubaker, Fraction, and all the other artists achieved exactly that with the Immortal Iron Fist. It did more for the character of Iron Fist than many of the character's previous adventures ever did, and it presented us with a backstory to him that felt organic and believable. After Brubaker, Fraction, and Aja left this series, Dwayne Swarzynski took over the primary writing duties starting with issue 17, and Travel Foreman got bumped up to primary artist. Their tenure lasted until issue 27 when the book was formally canceled. Now, they had a great run in their own right, and it's definitely worthwhile to check it out, but not before you check out the Brubaker, Fraction, and Aja run. Again, I can't stress this enough, these 16 plus issues are not just a classic Iron Fist story, they're a classic Marvel story, period. They belong in your collection along with all the other Marvel greats like Dark Phoenix Saga, The Night Gwen Stacy Died, and no, that's not hyperbole. Have you read The Immortal Iron Fist by Ed Brubaker, Matt Fraction, and David Aja? What did you think of it? Did I inspire you to go out and check it out for yourself? Or are there any other Iron Fist stories you would like to recommend? Let me know down below or anywhere on the internet. This run was collected into one complete trade paperback, that's the version I have here, but it was initially split up amongst 3 separate trades. And you know what? I'm going to put Amazon links to all 4 of those books in the description below so that not only can you help this channel by buying one of those books, but you can read The Immortal Iron Fist how you want to. And you know what? Because I'm such a good guy, I'll also put an Amazon link to the Dwayne Swarzynski run as well so that you can keep the good Iron Fist train going. Don't forget Wulff Den apparel, like I usually forget to say at the end of these episodes, where you can get great shirts, the same hat as me, and you can look like a tasty treat. That's what the kids say, right? Of course, new videos every Tuesday and Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern is Wulff Den Live. So subscribe to see all of that, like this video, and share it with a friend who doesn't believe that Iron Fist is actually awesome, because he is. It's just that he's only been awesome in the comics. Thank you all for watching. I will see you next time.